Welcome to this new episode of Unleashed. In this episode, we will reflect with various guests on their perspectives about growth, professional careers, the role of titles, the roles of recognitions, the balance between chasing a title versus building a passion and impact in the areas you want to do. I remember having a conversation with a very young professional in one of my corporate roles, where this youngster walked into my room upset about the fact that he was not promoted to the next level and that he felt very let down. So while we objectively reflected about the lack of progress, he set that aside, saying that, how do I face my family without making this progress? I'm letting down my family. They will think that I am not an achiever. They think that I am not good enough to provide their growing aspirations, needs. And he directly correlated his progress in professional life to being seen as accomplished within his own social and family circles. We dealt with him separately, but this issue of chasing roles, chasing recognitions, always fascinated me. I worked very closely with a leader who came from an extremely well-educated and good background. Parents highly accomplished, always felt small, that he was doing lesser than what his parents potentially are expecting out of him. So therefore was in hurry to get recognitions all the time. Our entire journey with him was to help him to focus more outside, to help him build a more passion of creating impact. So this led me to have conversations with various people around their experiences of this need for recognition, this need to have labels, this need to grow. I have fascinating guests on this podcast. I reflect this issue of this recognition, chasing titles versus building passion and creating impact versus having self-confidence about one's own professional growth versus looking up to others to handhold them to get there. We reflect with very fascinating set of guests. I have Khurshid Batliwala, very, very popular art of living teacher, meditator, inspires so many youngsters to take up meditation, take up self-search to build that confidence, and he's got a huge fan following in terms of how he motivates, inspires, and teaches people techniques of art of living to find their full potential. We continue to reflect with Devabrat Mishra. We continue to reflect with Rishikesh Krishnan. We have a new guest, Guru Prasad Saule. Guru is an old colleague of mine. We worked together at many places in our earlier parts of our careers. Guru is a distinguished entrepreneur and advisor known for driving transformation strategies in emerging markets. He is the president and co-founder of Indus International Research Foundation. He champions cross-border collaboration between small and medium-sized enterprises in the US, specifically in defense, aerospace, and technology sectors. He plays a significant role in championing the cause of the trade and the relationships between US and India. I begin my discussions with Khurshid Batliwala, also fondly called as Baba. I reflect with Baba the pressures of the families, the pressures of the society for a person in India to play up to their expectations, the expectations of how families and society is set on an individual, which creates a foundation from which the person is always wanting to perform, always wanting to be recognized, always chasing titles and milestones as the most important aspect of life. We also reflect about how in India it has become very important that I outperform everybody else in my society, in my community and families, and that is the way that is seen as my progress. We also reflect about how other societies look at how you might have to take the larger purpose of the community, and like a Japanese society where You being good at something means you have to make others good at it. Here are my reflections with Baba. The kind of people I deal with are very seasoned professionals. Most of them
Right.
are already CEO levels, CXO levels. This person I'm
Mm.
alluding to is somebody of that level, always trying to get a better edge, better traffic, recognition than what the person was doing. They're all very talented from very accomplished schools, have got a very good track record of this thing, but they go through a mind-numbing nightmare. It's all about unleashing their like whatever they're blocking them. And a lot of time that blocking are things like I want to get recognized, things like I don't trust this person, I don't trust my ability to do this, or I don't believe that this will happen to me. Those are the kind of situations I have to walk them through. So I'm just saying, from your experience with dealing with so many people, how do you think one can start building better? Of course, meditation is definitely a technique one can always will become the foundation, but going through these challenges in mind and overcoming them, I think, how do we, in your experience, what can we do?
See, I guess one of the things that even we have talked about in our book, Sleep Your Way to Success, is don't be scared of failure. I know sometimes this is a very high stake game that people play. And yet, if they uh, are willing to give themselves the permission to fail,
Mm.
then they perform exceedingly well. I'm not saying you go in to fail.
Correct. But you're ready
Obviously,
to fail.
play the game to win, but you have space to fail.
Absolutely. You're not scared to fail.
You're not scared to fail. You accept failure. You accept mistakes as part of the process of becoming a better human being, becoming better at whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah.
And you take the failures, take the mistakes, and you learn from them so you don't make them repeat them again and again.
Yeah.
And if you do that, I think you are on a very good path. You are on a very good trajectory towards personal excellence.
Absolutely.
You're not defined by your actions, your failures, or your successes.
Yeah.
So what I always say is either you see through any decision that you take, either you have won or you have learned. So this is something I keep telling everybody. The worst decision is not taking a decision.
Correct.
Because then you are stagnating.
Correct.
If you will never have 100% information about anything.
And never will be. Yeah.
You will never have that. And you will have to be okay with 60-70% information that you have got to make a calculated risk. Take a calculated risk, take a decision. And then if it worked, fantastic, you celebrate. And if it didn't work, fantastic. You have learned that at least this is not the way to do it. That lesson can be invaluable.
Absolutely. And I think needs, that means your environment also has to accept it. That's right from your childhood. Your parents' environment, for example, may or may not accept you to have progress less than or get results less than what it's expected. I think culturally that's a larger problem we have, right? So why is somebody doing better than you? Or when I come to offices, there are very low tolerance for mistakes culturally. By the time they have already come from a background of homes which never tolerated this. And I think some of them are like at that stage very, how do I put it, boxed to say that they can't afford to make mistakes.
Yeah. No, it is just if you say let us look at the IIT or IIM entrance exam. Okay, there are lakhs of students who sit for those exams and thousands get.
If you get it, yeah.
And the entire environment at home or wherever there is no plan B. There is no planning for, okay, suppose I don't get into this, then what do I do? Then life comes to a standstill. Those kids think that they are miserable failures for the rest of their lives, which is absolutely not the case.
And they carry it most of the time.
Yeah, and they carry it. It's not the case. You didn't manage to clear a particular exam does not mean anything.
Exactly. And that day you didn't perform well, that doesn't mean you're
correct
or worse.
Correct. So parents also have to be a little loose. Like 10th standard exam, 12th standard exam, it's like some Holocaust is happening. there is no need for that. There is no need.
Correct. And many of them who made to IITs are also not good. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily because they are just know how to crack that exam. They don't know what to do.
Exactly. So
Start from home. I think these are the changes from home to that you're waking up to do something. Like yesterday, I was talking to somebody very interesting. Many years ago, I was reading about some Japanese culture where if I'm good at mathematics, I'm not appreciated at home unless I make 10 other people good at mathematics.
correct. Whereas it was the other way around. Even for me, I was very good at maths and I would actually teach others. And my father would say, stop wasting your time.
Because they are getting better than you.
Yeah. The other day I was just talking and I said to be a success, you need a combination of excellence and laziness.
Laid back look.
Laziness. Because if you want to do the work all the time, then you're not going to train other people.
Correct.
And to train other people, you yourself have to excel at it. Otherwise, you'll suck at training.
Correct.
So you have to have this combination of absolute excellence and absolute laziness. Only then you will become really good at what you do, and then stop doing it so that other people can do it. And those people
will find new things to do. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think Baba brings out very interesting aspect of how people at every stage becomes an end in itself and there is no plan B. But this, what seems to be at an individual level, what seems to be at a family level, what seems to be a societal level, is also influencing how organizations structure themselves in India. Rishi brings this very interesting aspects of how global organizations, while in the rest of the world, they're flattening their organizations, having lesser tires to grow into. In India, I'm seeing this demand for constant growth, demand for constant recognition, demand for constant new titles. They have added additional layers within their own organizations to provide for this demand and need within India.
One of the persons I worked with had very interesting background. His parents come from a very good pedigree, had a very accomplished background. And so this person never went to any of those Ivy League schools and always felt small. So was always in search of titles, always in search of role recognitions, which are, which he can wear as labels on himself. So he was very much into that kind of a journey. And of course, his entire coaching we worked on to try and see whether he can have more outside impact as a purpose. I just wanted to just take your reflections on this.
I think your observations are generally true. Of course, it's not only about high performers or people who are coming from higher pedigree institutions. It's a more general social phenomenon. As you, I'm sure, are aware, if you look at the structures of even large multinationals, there was a time, maybe it was about 15, 20 years back, when all of them were flattening their structures globally, just trying to reduce it to 3 or 4 levels or bands. But many times those companies had to make exceptions in India because somehow in India, people needed promotion on a more frequent basis. So very flat structures didn't work very effectively here. So I know many companies just for India, though they maintained those same broad bands, within those bands, they created some sub-bands so that people could get a sense of advancement in the organization.
In the beginning of the podcast, we reflected about that youngster chasing the titles, saying that he can perhaps grow into the attributes the title requires, but the recognition of the title is very important for his societal standings. It takes me back to another company where we worked, where as a part of the merger, when we brought in people from 2 companies, we built a competency model and mapped different people onto the competencies and felt that many people were behind the competencies required for the titles and roles they were playing. They were given, of course, as a part of the merger, time to probably grow into those roles, but that's not the traditional way anybody grows into a role. You are getting a recognition or a title only when you already have a track record of having done that. The title is not a sense of societal recognition or something. It is more about a credibility you have already built. Here are my reflections with Debu on how one is known more for what they bring to the table, and those titles and recognitions are very temporary, transitional, and keeps changing, but you are known for what you bring to the table.
The aspect which I have found, and it's again a very personal reflection, that sometimes we go through life believing that we are insignificant, and therefore we need significance for ourselves. We seek that in terms of designations and the organizational brand. So I am so and so in this organization becomes the only significance that we seek in our lives.
Yeah.
What we don't realize is that those are, transitory. They don't last. So the moment you change the organization, that past significance is gone. The moment you drop the title, that significance is gone. Now, if you haven't built anything strong enough, which you are identified for, then you will always have these crutches to move along, and you will always be a victim of seeking those crutches. Now, we both have been in big brands, but today we are not. Both of us are not working with big brands. So it is our individual networks, credibility, or what we do. Maybe we are not big brands ourselves, but whatever we do, we are identified for the work that we do and who we are.
Correct.
And that takes a lot of conviction. So sometimes people also forget that in this whole world of work, there's only a small set which is working in a structured environment. The bigger set is actually working in a completely unstructured, unorganized sector, individual contributors, gig workers. They don't have the leeway to fall back upon these false crutches of brands or identity. They don't have. But it is shocking that many leaders actually do not take the step of building their own credibility and their own equity in each interaction. So with their customers, with their suppliers or vendors, with the people that they lead, the people that they are led by. So how do you build credibility with your boss or your manager? That's also extremely important.
Yeah.
And people don't do it. There is a very interesting lesson that I learned from public speaking. And it was a very simple insight, but it was very powerful. Saying that the day you realize that when you go for public speaking contests, if you shut out the audience, you don't focus on the audience at all. You do it for yourself. So you look at stand-up comics and you look at public speaking professionals. They follow this mantra that they do it for themselves. And therefore, they become extremely successful because then they don't get phased. And I think it's a part of the game of golf also.
Yeah.
That when you play it not from the applause or the celebration that will happen, but how well you played it and you are confident about it. So that becomes extremely important. So I recently was doing a project for a client where the director of HR wanted an incentive program to be designed. So I asked him saying that, and he said that we have to present it to the CEO and the HR committee. So I said that, so have you agreed with the CEO and HR committee as to what will be the impact of this incentive program? He said, no, I've just told them that I need to design an incentive program. I said, see, that's where you'll probably never get a sign off. Because you now are working on a program design, they will think that they have to spend money to pay out people. I said, you go back and when we present, once we've designed it, we'll present. The incentive is designed to increase sales and reduce costs.
Absolutely.
That's the communication that has to be given.
Aligned to that strategic need.
Yeah, that this sales, we are going to incentivize growth in sales and we are going to incentivize reduction in costs, and it is self-funded.
Yeah.
And we had an immediate sign off from the business leaders.
Absolutely.
Because they realized that only if my sales increases, and this is going to help me do that. And that's why I metric. Somewhere we have to figure out how we are making the other person successful.
Yeah.
The problem happens when we are focused on our success, that I have to be successful. So I have to come across to be seen as knowledgeable, to be seen as very firmly in grasp of the latest concepts. So we lose the plot at that stage.
Right away. Baba also shares his perspectives about growing into CXO roles. And like Debu says that it's not about what you want out of that role, but what you bring to that role. He also says that in the path of growing into that role, you have to carry the whole organization which cheers you and will collaborate with you in delivering its full potential.
I have coached quite a few people who, when they are 35, 36 years old, 37 years old, they have actually got it all, whatever they wanted, only to realize they don't want it. And now they are utterly confused. Now what do I do? Because this is not what I wanted.
Correct.
So maybe one of the things that people have to start really looking into is what is it that they truly want in life.
Correct. Correct.
Now, so many people are doing, oh, I have to do this because my father said so, because my mother said so.
Correct.
That's a pathetic reason to become an engineer or a chartered accountant or a what have you.
Whatever it is, yeah.
What is it that you want? You don't need to live your parents' dreams. What is your dream?
Yeah, yeah.
And
the dream cannot be titles. The dream has to be something you want to contribute. Dream is something you want to make an impact.
finally, it is that only. No, that is again something I ask. Why do you want a promotion? So you become the CEO. Why do you want to be the CEO? It's not about money. By that time you are in that role, you've got plenty of money. It's what is it about? It's not about fame. Today there are little girls on Instagram who are more famous than you. So forget about that. What is it about? Why do you want to get to where you want to be? Because you finally it is an altruistic thing that I can make a bigger difference to this company than anybody else can.
Absolutely. Get the right platform.
So I can contribute. Basically, it's a function of contribution. The urge to contribute, the urge to make a difference.
Correct.
And then as Gurudev says, if you want to contribute, you need cooperation. Otherwise, you can come up with some of the most amazing policies and nobody's going to listen to you and you will be a failure.
Absolutely.
And so on your way to the top, you have to make good friends. Unfortunately, a lot of people make lots of enemies on the way to the top. So when they actually get to the top, and we know so many CEOs who have been fired within 6 months, 8 months of being there.
Absolutely.
Because they simply cannot contribute to a non-cooperative workforce.
Yeah. So that means again partnering, trusting others, carrying others.
Exactly.
Absolutely. As I introduce Guru Prasad, the Guru as I call him, his passion to bring businesses between two countries, passion to position the opportunity of India to those in the US, the passion to bring collaboration between these two countries to invest into each other, grow with each other, contribute to each other, was more important than the titles or recognitions he got for that. He reflects about how titles didn't matter, recognition didn't matter, but how he pursued, and some of those things followed it. Here are my reflections with Guru. You're saying that you have built credibility.
Right.
The genuineness came through your passion. The efforts you're putting, you're more identified with this. There's no formal authority, but yet you're influencing these two groups. Right. And you're creating a platform where they can come and have a dialogue.
Sure.
The back end, of course, is your credibility of the research, the think tank, which is generating the direction of this. So how did you build this kind of a credibility influence without that authority?
That's a great question. Honestly, I don't have a straightforward answer. I think it goes back to the purpose. And I think when you badly want something and you believe in something, you start reaching out to appropriate people, and the journey just evolved. And I think that company you keep, that positive energy that develops from that leads you to find your way. Literally, I had to find my way because I'm not a CEO of Google or Microsoft. Donald Trump and Modi will not invite me because I'm managing $100 billion. It had to be something else. And again, the whole journey was kind of incidental. It was not really strategic. There was no great vision to say, okay, this is what will be in the next.
You just started working and things evolved.
Things evolved. And I think I must give credit to the outside world because they recognized it. And I didn't expect that. I didn't even look for recognition. It was
Mm.
more of, okay, I enjoy doing this. So I enjoy singing. I go sing a song on Smule or something.
I think you're really hitting the button that your passion created the opportunity, your passion created the influence.
You had a very good point on how do you do this when there's no formal authority,
Yeah,
right?
there's no formal authority, no doors will open otherwise.
Absolutely. So what happened was, just take the example of Think Tank and World Trade Center. Okay, I'll take two examples. So when we started Think Tank, of course, we were all founders. So when I started in US, I was the only person. Of course, I mobilized the team, and I have a great team now, thanks to all of them on the board. We had to give ourselves some titles just for market facing
Doors
clarity.
opening, yeah.
So we said, okay, I'm president of Indus International Research Foundation, US. Okay, it was a title which came by default. And then when World Trade Center activity was happening, it became a serious play. After 6 months of brainstorming, they said, no, you should be on our board because when you represent, you have a platform and people take you seriously. So they made me their international board advisor focused on India. So these titles came through, but that's really not the end game here.
Correct.
That's just a means to an end. That kind of helps you to meet people. There's some kind of identity which came because of what I was doing, what I was trying to do. And formal authority, when it comes to creating impact on a global scale, is really the lesson I've learned is you can really create a lot of impact without that formal authority. And I can tell you, I keep meeting several senators and congressmen and people in power all over the world. Even they find it hard to navigate the journey that we are so comfortably navigating now. And many people ask us, how are you doing it? It is just that I think goes back to that self-belief and believe in the ecosystem that you have. And people have been kind, of course, there's been a lot of support we got from several sources. But it's never easy. And again, it's not to brag about myself, but almost everyone in power anywhere in the world are dying to meet Modi. Okay. And they don't get an appointment. It's not easy.
Correct.
And I still wonder how I got invited.
How it happened.
I have a channel to the PMO. And same with Neeta Ambani, right? So when she met us, she was telling that there are a few heads of states waiting for a couple of years for her to give appointment to them.
Correct.
And I was quite humbled because she was in Boston and we got the governor of Massachusetts to honor Neeta Ambani. So we represented that Indian force to the US government, to Massachusetts Governor Maura Haley. And we told her, look, she's in Boston at Harvard, and you need to honor her because they're one of the, biggest value creators in the world. And she took our advice, and we got Neeta Ambani to be honored by Massachusetts. So I think that if you look at the root of all this, it's that very clear intent to kind of orchestrate where India is today and what is the value that India has and the relevance India has in the world. And when we are representing it in the right way, there are people willing to listen to you. And when we approached Neeta Ambani and we told her, look, can you give us a few hours? We want to, there's a ceremony that we are putting together for you. It was just a 1 week notice she had. And they went ahead and changed the schedules. That was a huge recognition, some kind of satisfaction that, okay, it validates that what you're doing is something that people see value in. And we got that done. So I think formal authority is really, sometimes it can also be a constraint, right?
This anxiety to get titles, this anxiety to do well, this anxiety to get recognized is a fact of life. There are, especially in societies like India, where you're continuously being rated by how well you have done professionally, this anxiety continues to be there. Lack of progress as per one's aspirations has always been a challenge. And that builds in anxiety, builds in a lot of pressure on people working there. I think these organizations perhaps have not recognized this as an issue. That people need to be handheld, helped in managing this anxiety, pressure, and expectations. I reflect with Baba of how to address this and how meditation can become central in addressing this issue. The other angle that comes is most of these are real issues like physical issues. That means somebody who's going through this stress of not getting accepted, going through this stress of feeling low esteem, going through this stress of not trusting others is not recognized by organizations as an issue. It is an issue actually because you have to help them to deal with it. It's a part of course, that guy was physically not well, they would have helped him. But if he's having these struggles of like daily not getting, feeling that he may not be accepted, going through that, he'll underperform. It's also his well-being. I would call this also part of well-being is not being addressed. Somehow organizations have not seen this as an issue they need to deal with. And this is a natural
But now at least all over Europe, there is a lot of talk about mental health.
Okay.
So hopefully it will seep into India sooner or later.
I'm saying the techniques are there, but they really recognize that they may be having this kind of struggles. And I think they give as they like, let's say you introduce meditation, but they also still say they'll take time to come out of this. That patience to, and I think recognition that somebody is learning on this area is not there, I think, and hopefully it will come into India as well. How does one make this shift? What can one do to be ready for this kind of thing and believe?
It comes down again to belief in yourself. It comes down again to feeling that confidence that and that need that I want to contribute and that I'm capable of doing that. And again, that will come down to meditating on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
For me, I have seen that when a person is on a regular journey of meditation, yoga, then they don't need to do this because it is automatic. And the problem is that people don't do it. Then, as you say, people have to work on it. Then it's just fighting your own mind, which is tiring. So instead of that, if people would embrace that here is a technology that allows me to fix my mind and allow me to seed my mind with whatever is great. And I use that technology. I think that is intelligence.
Your strong advocacy, if you do this systematically, correctly, regularly, you don't need any other interventions. And I think
I'm not saying you don't need any other. Definitely, you will need other interventions.
But your ability to probably.
But you will be able to benefit from those interventions 10x, 20x, 50x faster.
So we conclude this episode reflecting more on how you build your self-worth by what you bring to the table, not what you get out of the work. This is how one of the CEOs I had reflected with, are you working for the company or is the company working for you? Are you working for your role or is the role working for you? I think it's a very important aspect one needs to reflect upon. You are here to contribute. You will be known for what you have done. You need to have that faith in your abilities, in your skills, in your efforts, that you will be able to contribute. And once you contribute, these titles and everything is transitionary. However, one has to inculcate strong, meditative mind, build a self, build a faith in oneself. I think going back, going inwards, connecting to oneself, being aware of one's mind, being aware of one's capabilities will help you to build draw upon your full potential, help you to build that immense confidence, and helps you to build that faith and trust in yourself. In the coming episode, we will reflect with people who have built their profiles by building a passion on an issue in the market, how they have shaped up their careers, their pursuits of bringing some impact and change in the market. They have championed certain issues, championed certain causes, and are willing to shape and working through that as a process. And that is giving them immense recognition and immense confidence, as well as wonderful returns back to them in the long run.